Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me. Awesome. Okay, so would you mind putting up help me put up the slide from your end if that's okay? Okay, I'll also do that from my end. All right, thank you. Okay, yes, please. Don't worry. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So please just confirm to me once you're able to see this, please. Awesome. Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Joel. I work with Providence Bank HR. I'm a talent acquisition specialist. Basically, I'm here to just share my experience as regard to engaging um, candidates during the process of hiring. Tell you the skills that make QA engineers stand out in this modern time of 2025. So we all um, are aware that in this time that we are in this season that we are, IT is the major thing in which people are looking out for, and QA is that you know very bedrock in between the tech guys, in between the developers and every other team members. Because we regard the QA guys as very important components in the process of development of any sort of application or whatever you're trying to build, right? So we'll be touching on several areas. I just want to point out a few key areas. Excuse me, some key areas in which please confirm that you can hear me one more time, so I know that um, I'm audible enough. Please. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So basically, there are key non-technical skills for QA. I just want to dive in straight up because I know time has been allotted to each person. So there are key non-technical skills for QA engineers. So I would like to point out on areas in which, from the banking point of view, that are very, very, very critical. And to summarize these things, I've tabled about 5 key things, items in which we need to look out. Key skills in which are very, very important are communication and collaboration. In the course of our work, we tend to, look out and, ignore this part of it where communication among your colleagues, communication among team members, communication across team members also, and across stakeholders is so important. While you're also communicating, you're trying to collaborate with them to ensure that you get your things done. That skill is very important. That's not the normal skill in which you will say, okay, I have this particular skill set in terms of how to, use my tools, how to use the process, how to understand the process and all that. This is different. This is more the human part of it, right? So critical thinking, problem solving is so important, right? For those that are upcoming, you need to know this. You need to always try as much as possible to think outside the box when there's an issue. Every leader or every manager always derives joy when you see his fellow team members trying to ensure that they create that problem-solving mentality, critical thinking mentality, right? And it's so essential in this our modern time because we are in a period where a lot of Gen Zs are, be smart. They have quick access to information. So not just you having that information, but be able to think through the information and to also bring out the best thing you can actually, utilize from it. Adaptability and continuous learning is the number 3 thing I would like to point out. The adaptability part of it is where a lot of QAs or a lot of IT people or IT personnel fail to understand that there are environments in which you have been, privileged to walk around or privileged to be, and you need to be able to adapt to that environment, adapt to what their process is. It's not always what the process where you're coming from is all about, but where you are currently, how would you be able to adapt to their own process? And then you create a learning culture whereby whatever you are seeing by the day, going through by the day, you are able to build that up. We'll go deeper. I just want to point out these key things so that we have a sense of where we are heading to. Product and users focus, very important. One of the key things also I've understand during the process of hiring and engaging QAs. A lot of us might think we know it all, but during interview you think you just know it all. Oh yes, I know, but you're not able to detail down the process itself. And that's because most times it might happen, it might come to us as a shock because is it that the person did actually stay long in his environment to understand the process, or he did not actually pay attention much more to detail in terms of how he has knowledge of the product in which the services the company is rendering, or him or her actually trying to profile, right? So, and then on the user's end, we need to always try as much as possible to understand our users, what they are looking out for, what they want to see at the end of the day. So that's very important in non-technical skills. These are not skills that you can actually just, go somewhere and learn. It's something that you build upon. You try to, pick up as a challenge and say, this is what I want to achieve. And in the course of doing all these things, in the course of knowing this products, the services, understanding the process, aligning with the developers to see what they are trying to build, and also the PM guys who understand what is being communicated by the users, understand the user's point of view, also so just to get the sum total of everything, you then become someone that is a leader, that can lead people. Someone you now translate someone that they can actually pass knowledge, and one key thing about QA is that a knowledge that you don't have in QA is a knowledge you can actually transfer, right? If you don't have that knowledge, you will not be able to transfer it to the next person. And that's because the knowledge in which you've gotten, you'll be able to own this knowledge. own the process, understand it, understand it to the point whereby you wake up one morning and they ask you one or two things, and then you're able to point out what it is. So during the process of hiring, you tend to see all these things play out because of questions, tricky questions that might be thrown to you, just so you'll be able to find your way around it. And that's what we are yet to understand. I'm happy that I'm actually sharing this stats because it's very important. During my course of engagement in my interviews, I tend to see a lot of QAs, not paying attention to their communication skills, and it's very, very important. How you communicate to people matters a lot, and it helps you to also, quickly resolve the issues, quickly attend to the challenges in which you face on the job. You know, excuse me, because of the understanding and because of the lack of communication that was not there. It's something that we would have done previously, but because of the communication was not there, people didn't understand it. What are the users looking out for? What is it? What are they looking out for? What are the areas do you think the developer need to come in? And where do I come in order to test to see what the users are facing? So for example, I log into a new site that has been built for hiring process of a QA. And the QA candidate comes in, login, can't get a message back to tell him his application has been successful. Back end, what do I do? Who do I relate to? How do I resolve this? These are questions, and when there are no communication, you tend to, have issues of that kind, right? So I would say that teamwork is very essential. QAs must work closely with developers, product managers, and designers. Effective collaboration ensures quality at every stage. That's what I mean. At every stage of your process, at every stage of where you get to in terms of your relationship with developers, in terms of the PMs guys, in terms of the product owners, the people that are going to use this stuff, you need to be able to try as much as possible, to closely work with them. And that has to do with proper and quality communication and collaboration. With that, you'll be able to attain what you're aiming for. Clear reporting, writing concise, clear bug reports, test results is critical. It helps stakeholders make informed decisions quickly. Active listening. Listening to different perspectives allows QA engineers to better understand users' expectations, product goals, and all that. So it's so important. I would say that for QA, you must be for a QA who is actually even upcoming, right? That I think I should start with that. You need to try as much as possible to pay attention to what the people, the users, the users that need this particular product. You need to pay attention to them, because whatever you communicate to the developer is what they will take. They believe that you have gotten the right, you have tested, you have seen what's happening. You've also ensured that the users also try it out, and whatever they communicate to you, you also communicate to the developers, to see what can be fixed and all that. And then, so whatever you're communicating has to be very, very, very concise. Your active listening skills is what's going to help you. So you must try as much as possible to clear your mind, ensure that whatever you are doing, you have the time, you create the time for it, have a schedule so that you don't need to start juggling on many things, right? So because I know a QA, they do a whole lot, right? They can be working on like 10 projects on the go. So you must be able to create your schedule to be able to fit in to all this. And in summary, what are you aiming for? What you're aiming for is the easier to work with kind of people, set of individuals, developers, PMs, the users itself, just to have ease while working. More trusted by cross-functional team. It creates an environment where you can actually trust the people that are actually giving you the information, the people that are actually getting these things done. profiling the solution, what you've actually brought up to say, okay, this area is needed, needs some touch here. We need to run a test here. We need to do a tweak here of this or that. That gives you ease. That makes you have to trust the person you're actually working with. More effective at catching and explaining issues. Exactly. That's the point. That's the sum total of it all. And a true contributor to product success. So what happens is that it makes you outstanding in your job. By communicating and collaborating with team members, it makes you outstanding in your job, right? So critical thinking and problem solving. Excuse me. So route causes analysis, QA engineers who dig deep into problems can identify not just what broke, but why it broke, enabling lasting fixes, right? So this is it. This is what we are trying to say. So for QA, you must be able to think deep. Like I said, think deep. Always try to find out what the issue is. Ask questions. Sometimes the users may not even see these issues, but you will, right? And that makes you better. That makes you even the user and also the tester. And at that point, when you do that, it makes your work, efficient, makes your work very okay and, full of quality, right? Decision making, QA often operates in ambiguous contexts. Making informed trade-off under time pressure is a vital skill. Making informed trade-off under time pressure is a vital skill. Like I said, you have like 10 projects in which you're working on. How do you manage all this? How do you maintain your sanity in all this? As upcoming QA engineers, how do you try to be in a space whereby you can actually manage all these things? You need to learn. You need to also try to have a schedule. Like I said, is so important. Scenario analysis. Understanding different users' parts and splitting edge cases helps engineer catch critical issues early. Analysis of all these issues that have been brought up from different users, it helps, right? It helps the QA. It helps you to be able to test smarter, not just harder. But you test smarter in this case, meaning that you are able to pinpoint where the root causes are coming from. So you catch the issues early and you just rework. Just like I said, you are the tester, you're the user and also the tester. If you have that mentality, right, it helps your work gets 100%, more or less 99% done, right? It eases your work. It makes you have sleepless nights, of no issues. Sleepless nights of no issues, whereby you go to sleep, you're thinking, but you're already saying in your mind, yeah, I've actually fixed this. I've actually, in those sleepless nights, you're already telling yourself, you're giving yourself the answer, saying, yes, I did this, I did that, I did this, I was able to do this, and then the next thing, in the following day, you're all good. And it helps build better software and better processes, just like we're looking out for, So I have some staff in which, by with time, I do know that they're doing extremely well. I have a female staff that is a QA that, whenever I hear her speak with my team, right, I see a whole lot of clear communication. Our communication with my team is always apt. Like, she's always in their face. She's very friendly. Because why? You can't get anything done without bringing, talking to your guys, trying to check the users, trying to check the developers, and she's a go-to person. So you need to create this atmosphere. All these things are not hard skills that you can easily go and get somewhere. These are soft skills that you just need to develop yourself, right? So it's important. Adaptability and continuous learning. Learning new tools, that's part of the job. There are times where you feel that, where I am currently, there's nothing happening. That urge is a urge to tell you that you just need to just try some new tools, By the time you start trying some new tools and you then apply to what you currently do, you discover that you are doing the very best at what you're now trying to test to see what can fix, what cannot, what can change, the new things you can bring on board, and that creates that critical thinking for you, and helps you to be one of the sought after in the market space. Responding to change, right? From shifting priorities to sudden bug surges, flexible engineers can handle disruptions without losing momentum. So it's so important that some QA guys find it, from what I have seen, some find it difficult when they move to another organization. They find it difficult to just stable or be in that space. That sudden change of environment, it can disrupt some things, some of your momentum, looking so ready to work. But by the time you see that the process is not aligning with what you know before, you then start making yourself feel, you're a bit laid back and all that. But don't give up, right? Just list out those things that you are facing in your current place of work. Maybe it could be that you just need to have a conversation with the most senior QA engineer to touch base on these areas and tell you what you might be missing out. It could be that you've not actually learned more things, or you've not checked out some new things that are currently up and running. In the banking space, people see it as, you always definitely have projects to do. And the truth is, yes, you always have projects to do, and you see new things, right? So you need to try as much as possible, learn, discuss, connect, meet people, so that they will be able to sharpen your edge, right? And sharpen your mindset. And then you now go to the growth mindset, where you're seeking feedback to fuel the growth for your career, which helps QA to thrive, learn innovation in their teams. Just the same thing we're trying to say, right? So it's so important. Product and users focus, business context. For the business context, QA engineers add more value when they understand the product goals and the problem it solves for users. Now, here is where we need to actually, take our time to digest, right? For QA, I believe that people need to take their time to understand products, especially where they are working. So you come to an interview, you're being interviewed for a QA engineer role, and then we ask you what you do currently. What do you do currently? What are the products you've actually, achieved for the year? Or, excuse me, from January to now, what product have you been able to execute, or what are you currently executing? And what are your processes in actually getting this thing done? And then you start asking this candidate this stuff, and then you see that they don't have the knowledge of even the product that they are currently even trying to solve, or they are built. They don't even know what the problem is you're trying to solve, right? So for the business sake, right, and for the sake of the QA, you need to try as much as possible to understand this product, understand the app, whatever app you're building, whatever platforms you're trying to build, to ensure that it creates and solve issues, solve problems for your users. Try as much as possible to understand it, so that you don't come to an interview looking blank, right? Those are the things we've seen. Those are the soft, I'll call it the soft skills you need to have clarity of, because a whole lot of QA guys fail in their interview in this space of soft skills. Soft skills, as you got not to, you knowing your tools, the kind of tools you could use for the process, blah blah, But this other end, for as a team lead where you are, you're currently maybe supervising like 3 or 4 QA guys, right? Or and then you want to get a job to be a team lead elsewhere, right? But how do you resolve conflicts within your space among your QA guys? If there are conflicts, how do you resolve those conflicts? These are not questions that speak to your ability to use the tools, right? This is just mere work life scenario based stuff, that we are trying to put out to you to say, okay, as a team lead, how would you be able to solve this? How would you be able to solve that? But you need to think as regard to the business context and see what issues that has been before, how you'll be able to mitigate those issues, step-by-step process of how to do that. I met a candidate yesterday, but not for the IT role. And I love the fact that the guy could actually go deep in terms of what he's going to do if it was a team lead. From where he's coming from, he's leading about three guys, right? But it's not like he's up there in the ladder of leadership, but he's able to detail down what he can do, right? And guess what? We're giving him the offer because he has been able to showcase what he needs, and those skills are not the hard skills. Excuse me. Those skills are not the hard skills we're talking about here, right? So, user's perspective, testing for a user's point of view helps undercover. Wow. So, this is what I've been seeing. Testing from the user's point of view is so important. Is so important, right? When you start testing from the user's point of view, it helps you to understand what is going on, right? It helps you to bring it to the call of the user to say, okay, I saw this. Is it workable? Is it something you would like to have, or do you want us to take it out? That makes you to own your space, right? So I'll be very glad if QA guys start looking at all these areas. By the time you work on this, I bet you by the time you go to any interview anywhere, you'll be outstanding, right? Excuse me. Okay, so customer advocacy, being a champion for end users ensures quality standard aligns with user satisfaction. It's still what we're trying to say. You get, right? So when you see issues, you run to the users to say, okay, I found this issue. I don't know. I'm thinking around it. I feel it should be like this. I feel it should be like that, right? But what do you think? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to ensure that you give them the best of quality standard that you can actually do as a QA. Then you now come to the part of your ownership where you're able to own the quality of work you've done, and it shows easily. You become a mentor to people, to the junior ones who are under you. Even as a junior one, you tend to even wow your supervisors to the point whereby they allow you to go for certain calls, certain engagements that speaks to team leads, right? And they give you the platform to actually speak. And this matters a lot in this process of our hiring, in hiring, and also on the job, right? So critical thinking is also very, very important. Thinking beyond day-to-day testing and aligning QA with business strategies marks true leadership. What's this just trying to summarize here? Excuse me. So what this is trying to summarize here is to tell you that as long as your knowledge as long as you know very well that you're good on your job, you're able to do all these things, fantastic stuff, able to fix issues, be the best go-to person anyone can always imagine. I would like to but within the team of our QA guys, I have like one or two persons I can actually just run to and say, oh, I need to understand this area. I need you to help me look at this area. And they will come back to me with great insights, right? So that's what matters a lot. That's what makes you outstanding. That's what builds you as a true leader within your space, right? No matter the grade. Okay, so I would like to put up this, so just to give you a clear view of, a wider view of what we are trying to see here. So you see the test engineer in the middle, right? And then you see other components in various directions. You have the test design, you have time management, you have communication, you have coaching and mentoring, you have defect and management, you have learning, you have logic and rational thoughts, you have modeling, you have planning, you have risk management, you have social skills, like we said, being aware of the surroundings, what is happening, cross-functional pairing and all that. Speaking and writing, fantastic, because you have to communicate. You get so technical skills, very necessary. That's part of it. Test approach, also very interesting. So all these, you see areas in which speaks to it. So it tells you that having technical knowledge is not enough, right? Excuse me. Having social skill is not enough. Being able to plan by the scope, estimation, test planning, priorities and all that is not still enough. You need to be able to manage all these areas that makes you become a true, test engineer, a true QA, so that you'll be able to be outstanding wherever. So just to round up, right? I have a reflection here, right? I don't think there will be question and answer. I'm sure there will be. Which of these skills will you focus? Just a reflection from your end. Which of the skills of these skills will you focus on to grow as a QA engineer? Those are the skills I mentioned before, right? All this, what skill here do you think you need to focus more on? I know there are some areas in which you're having issues. You need to itemize it more or less. Speak with people, read about it, study, if possible, if it has to do with, most times we may not be privileged to having to go for trainings, but try as much as possible to look out for information, speak with more learned QA testers that will help you. And then lastly, excuse me, beyond mastering tools and frameworks, the real differentiators are mindset, adaptability, and the ability to lead through quality. Apologies for those errors. Uh, Beyond mastery tools and framework, the real differentiators, what sets you apart, what makes you the best of who you are. One, you have the mindset is very important. Some of us we feel down because maybe you've been in a particular organization for 5 years, 4 years, there's no growth, blah blah. I told you I engaged somebody during the process of my hiring. I saw a guy who has spent about 5 years or more as a contract staff, right? But I know that this guy is worth it. This guy is worth it. What can I do? The only thing I can do is to ensure that I push this guy forward. Do all my best to ensure that I move forward. If the team are okay with him, there's no other issue, right? And it speaks to how you are, your kind of person. If you have all those skills, soft skills, it also helps you, right? And then it makes your work easy. Okay, thank you so much for everybody. I don't know if there are any questions. Sorry, I'm having a bit of cold this morning. All right, thank you. I don't know if you can hear me. Um, just to confirm one more time. Okay, okay. Excuse me. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, so I feel one of the key things I've seen, right? If you can hear me, one of the key things I've seen within our team. Firstly, I think you should just start with more or less a bond, a team bonding, right? Where people get to free up themselves a bit, have certain um things you can actually say, more or less truth to tell, things that would open up the team, maybe start from there, right? And then get some filters from these guys, know what they feel, know what they are going through, you know, and then for you to be able to now have productive interaction, this speaks to you being able to look at their job they've done, whatever they send to you, try to look at it, see what they've done, more or less scrutinize it, in your best of knowledge, call them into your room, have a conversation, tell them what areas in which, so they feel a bit more comfortable with you. I tell you the truth. Here in Providence Bank, our IT guys are way, way too bonded. Like they are too bonded because I see it a whole lot, and I know to what your question is. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.